Thank you very much for the two strong arms that brought me up here. And congratulations, Lamali, for an excellent arrangement. What shall I say? How do I start? Do I start with you, Chandana, or do I start with Namali? So I start with Namali. Namali, congratulations to you and your staff that arranged this very good seminar. President of the IASL, Chandana, who is always in constant contact with us regarding the industry. His colleagues, CEO of all the companies who are here. My dear friend, Mr. Chandra Shaft, whom I have known almost for over nearly 50 years. And those captains of this industry, and those advisors, whether you have won prizes, you have been elected to the MDRT or otherwise, who have achieved numbers that are quite admirable this year. And ladies and gentlemen, I was rather amazed that I was invited for the second time to come over here to be among you, which invitation I certainly accepted with great pleasure. But at the same time, I was rather worried that I have exhausted all what I knew in addressing you on the last occasion. But having come here and watching the dynamism of the market, the social conditions, environment, I thought there may be a few thoughts that I would like to share with you. Last year, the theme that was focused was I saw a large number of flames rising on the background, and I suggested that the industry has to rise like the phoenix from the flames. And you have done so. So that's something to be very happy about. But looking at the theme today, though hardly anything is said, I see a number of ants carrying foliage, perhaps to build its own shelter so that it can be safe in when it rains and have it store its food. A very apt depiction of what insurance is. This reminds me of the nursery rhyme which I learned when I was in the nursery long years ago. And that was Payana Kaledi, Radaval Mansivi, Kannade Raskarai Kubio, Sitenut Vassenut, Berila Innata, Equela Kubio. So that is what this denotes. And that is exactly what insurance is about. When you go and sell life insurance, you go and sell life insurance as something that will be of immense assistance to you and help to you in your old age, when there is disability, or in demise. So therefore, the theme is quite apt, and that should be the basis on which one has to sell the insurance, particularly life insurance. It reminds me of what Winston Churchill said, according to a friend of mine who is well known in the industry in this part of the region, not particularly in Sri Lanka, yes, of course, in Sri Lanka too. He told me that Winston Churchill said that if he can write the message of life insurance in every cottage in England, that will be a very happy day, because that would be the safety net for the English people in their old age and time of disability, and to their family when there is a demise. So when you look at it, we have had large amount of challenges. If you go through the last 4 or 5 years, we had terrorist attacks in 2019. Then we had the COVID, and then we had an economic crisis. The industry has to face all this, particularly life industry. I must say during COVID, although it dropped, your performance in 2021 was exponential. You achieved almost over 21%, of course from a lower base due to COVID. Nevertheless, and after the economic crisis, when the dollar, or rather the rupee, has got devalued to almost 340-50 rupees to the dollar, when the disposable income levels have come down, priorities were different, you have managed to achieve a growth of almost over 9% just over the third quarter, and perhaps you must reach about 10 when the fourth quarter results come. Remarkable indeed. Congratulations. Not only there should be a millionaire dollar table, I think you should have a platinum table for these gentlemen, for the efforts they have put in. Excellent. Mind you, you have reached that level of over 9+% at a time the economy recorded a drop by -7.9. The economy is at -7.9%, and you achieved a 9+%. So congratulations and well done. So working in that environment, things are going to be difficult for you. It's not easy. You have to have, as quite rightly pointed out earlier, the correct attitude. It is the attitude of yours, the determination you can yet go through, because attitude develops your aptitude, and that aptitude carries you to altitudes. So remember, attitude, aptitude takes you to the altitude. So, as one says, the great heights the great men reached and kept were not achieved by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling through the night. And you had toiled hard. You have met them. Of course, the number of policies issued this year or last year, whatever the year relevant, was about 4 million out of a population of 22.5 million. I don't know the percentage of lapses. The lapses, I have not got the figures, but there has to be some lapses. But this is at a time when 7 million people are said to be below the poverty line. They are difficult to find one meal a day. Today, if you calculate the income levels that need to put just bare 3 meals a day sans of any protein is about 100,000 rupees for a family of 4, just to have bare meals only. Not to look after their children, their school, their clothing, their shoes, their books, their pens, pencils, and above all, the travel. You cannot manage within that 100. So this, lot of people, and not only them, even those who are just on the margin, just going into the lower middle class, They don't have the disposable of income to think of that old age, disability and demise. That's not no concern today. Concern today is food on the table for the children, even if you starve yourself for one meal a day. So that is the context. Do they have that disposable income to afford a life policy? In that context, when you examine it further, you will find that although there is a 7 million and a marginal 3 million left, there's another 10 million or to 12 million whose penetration levels have been very, very low. You have to target them. Shift your emphasis. Market your product. Above all, you should have a belief and a thorough knowledge of what you are going to sell. If that is so, there are yet people who are prepared to invest a part of their income, even if they don't dispose as much as they did dispose earlier, towards a life insurance policy for the sake of their children and for the sake of their family. Particularly when it comes to health, they are very anxious to know about health. Health insurance is something that is lacking in this country, and there is a big gap. Particularly, I would always advise those who are selling life and health, please be sure of your product and establish credibility among your customers. Establish credibility, be truthful of what can be sold and what can be done. Look at when you go to a station to pump petrol, a petrol station, or shed as you call it, you find a large advertisement, beautiful, a smiling patient on a bed, offers being made. And then when the actual thing happens, it is not what appears in the advertisement that takes place. So there is a gap between what you offer and what you actually give. It is your endeavor to educate your client to know exactly what he is going to get. So the most important thing is the industry has to perform a gap analysis of what it offers or advertises and what it realistically provide. There is always a gap. And this is what the complaint is. And this adds to the credibility of the entire industry. I will tell you a nice example of it. If a person takes an insurance cover, for example, let's say, for example, it just strikes me. He has to, in enthusiasm, the insurance cover is given. He's covered. But he had not gone for a medical. But unfortunately, he meets with death before he can go for a medical or before he's run over by a bus. Are you going to refuse his claim? Technically, you can. But humanistically, realistically, credibly, can you do that? He's covered, but he has not gone for the medical because it was medical within 3 days or whatever. The cover had been given in over enthusiasm, and then you cannot say, "Look, you are not covered." So unless, of course, you had told them, if you die in between these 3 days, we are not going to give you a cover. So that has to be communicated. The same thing that happened in respect of a general, I tell you. An example from general, though not relevant, but it's important, the principle of it is relevant. Recently, a lady whom I know, who runs a fashion boutique, rang me and said, "Sir, I have a problem." what is the problem? I have insured my entire business, goods and everything else, accessories, everything else. I had a robbery. What is the robbery? I have installed split type air conditioners in my premises. Thieves have come in the night and taken the outdoor unit away. So I claimed insurance, and insurance said, sorry, what is outdoor is not covered. What is only indoor is covered. So sorry, we are refusing, we can't give you any payment for your outdoor unit that has got lost. Again, is that fair? You may be right legally. Have you explained it when you said, when insurance has covered the air-conditioned unit, you did not exclude and say, look, the unit has to be inside. You can't have split-type units with the outdoor units. You did not do that. So how can you refuse it? I said it looks unreasonable. Were you explained? Was there a cover given? Nothing. So most people who take insurance do not know what they do. Sometimes they don't read the little figures behind. That is why I'm glad that leaving the word agency out, that you are called advisors. So it is your duty to advise your client exactly as to what is covered, what is not covered, and how it has to be covered. If not, the credibility of the entire industry is lost. The ordinary layman doesn't understand the difference between the unit outside the shop and the other split inside the shop. Similarly, every other product. So therefore, it is very necessary that you yourself familiarize thoroughly with the product and then advise your client exactly what it is needed and what covers should be taken, because you are the first point of contact by the client and you have to fight his cause against your own principle and then set it out to her or him that this is what has happened. I'm sorry my company cannot cover you this, but certainly the other items are covered. So you have to be on a strong footing to say that. So not only you should know your product, your client should also know your product. I'm talking about practical things that come to our attention very often. So, in as much as, for example, say today there is very a common theft today. When you park your car outside, in the morning when you come to start, because you don't have a garage, most people park outside on the lane. When you come out in the morning, you will see that the two side mirrors are removed and taken away. They caught that chap recently. So it's a very common thing. So simply because the car is parked outside, if you have a full cover, are you going to say, no, you parked the car outside? You didn't employ a security guard in the night to guard your car. Therefore, sorry, we can't give you the insurance cover because we don't cover things that is outdoor. You can't do that. A fortiori, it applies even to life. These are some of the issues that come up. So you as advisors have to create the level of confidence, the perceptions. That is why I say you can talk about all sorts of technologies. For example, tech insurance, which is a word. You can go to a computer, you can go to a sales point and maybe buy a travel insurance like what is found in the airports abroad. You can buy certain things across using technology. Good. But yet you have to have the personal human touch. That is why life insurance today, 80 to 82% of the life insurance today is sold by the 27,000 or 28,000 advisors. Remember that. 82% of the policies are sold by you. No one comes close to you. You are having a fear of bank assurance. Bank assurance today is only yet around 10% or 12% the max. You can know where can it match you, because we are also totally opposed to forced sales. We will not permit forced sales. Whether bank assurance or not, which is at 10%, you are at 82%. The others, like brokers and the others, share the small other balance percentage of 5 to 6% or whatever. So your touch, your human touch, is very necessary. Have you sold a policy and forgotten about it? Are you meeting your clients often? Do you go on rounds? Say hello to them? Keep them informed? These are some of the most important things that is happening. So, long-term insurance is something that will stay. The best example is when the economy is down by 7.9% minus, when you go with a positive plus 9.4. That shows the amount of confidence and the yearn for insurance. Because this is the best for all to get together and to see that in community looks after the single individual, the insurance community. The principle of all for each and each for all. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great year in spite of the economic downturn. Keep it up. As I said, have a positive attitude. That will create the aptitude for you to reach the altitudes, as I said. And aim high, aim at the sky, you will reach the coconut tree. I wish you all the best and every success in your deliberations. And I hope you will go from strength to strength. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.